Hi there, it's time to look at Bitcoin Cash through the Wyckoff lens again. Let's take a look at the key items I covered during the session if you're new to these sessions. So, for the weekly chart of Bitcoin Cash, we continue to see confirming Wyckoff stages. So last week, the price climbed, and that pretty much confirmed the second sign of weakness after the one we had back in mid-October. So after almost another month, in mid-November, we finally got this, and the price closed a little bit higher than the last one in October, but as well, the LPSY this time is at a lower point. So last week and this week, we see prices got rejected from somewhere near the white line, the 567 level. That's the upper boundary of the long-term playground zone. Alright, so if you're new to my sessions, the long-term playground zone is basically an area that tracks each of the crypto assets since maybe as early as 2017. About 70-80% of the time, the asset will trade or was trading within this area. And we're now within that zone, and when the price tried to get above that, it got rejected for 2 consecutive weeks. So that means it's probably, at least for the short term, it's somewhere not easy to be break over. And if this is really where the peak of the LPSY, the current LPSY is, then it is ending much lower than the last one. The last one was closing at around 560. Currently, we are only 540. So 4% almost lower than the previous one. And this week's candlestick still have around 55 hours to go. So we definitely won't know what happens when the candle closes. Hopefully it's staying at around the yellow key level, okay, around 530 or slightly above it. But don't be surprised if it comes down below the yellow key level again, because I already mentioned in previous sessions, these lower levels sign of weaknesses compared to the ones we had back in August and September is a signal that we may be getting to near the end of the distribution, and might as well get into the accumulation cycle. While I'm still keeping 20% chance for it to potentially get up to challenge or go above the white line once again. And also I did share that Bitcoin Cash shared a very similar path as Bitcoin. So if we bring in Bitcoin, you see they seem to be in sync. Let me close the drawings. See, even though it's not exactly the same, they are very close to each other. So when Bitcoin climbs, Bitcoin Cash also reached the climax. Bitcoin dropped, Bitcoin Cash dropped as well. This time, same, pretty much. Bitcoin trying to stay at around 91K. Bitcoin Cash has been trying to stay around its current level. Alright, so that's the interesting part and the big picture of this. Now, let's get back to the daily chart and see what additional information we can get from the daily. Alright, here. The previous downtrend that we have been tracking, by aligning the LPSYs, has been broken by the November 21st price surge. The volume was pretty impressive, both November 21st and 22nd. However, the subsequent days, the red ones isn't too weak as well. The volume was also quite high. So now that we have declined to the average, along all the way to August, so we're back to the 3 months average now. So here, we don't see that kind of crazy buying in now. So, more snakes, and that's why I said don't be surprised if the price comes back down to below the yellow key level. You see currently they are staying above this yellow line that we have drawn a while back already. But the tendency, at least I see it, is to come back to challenge the orange key level at around 450. The box, the channel box, or the air hockey table itself, we need to adjust. Now that it has this bulge or this peak over here, let's align still this second test as a starting point. The lows we have to take into consideration. It's getting through a less steep slope than the previous box, but still, the price is being trapped in this downtrend. So let's adjust the center line as well. Alright. Okay, so if the price continues to trade sideways, what would happen? Look at this triangle over here. It's pointing towards mid-December. Alright. So if it continues to stay above the red, not red, but the yellow line, this, when we get closer to mid-December, this is the time when the big guys are going to confirm us, or the market is going to confirm us, whether the downtrend is going to continue or is it finally finished. Alright, because while we are still in the downtrend, this horizontal trend with the upper boundary and the lower boundary at this white solid line at around 575 and the orange line at around 450 seems to be the horizontal trading or sideways trading zone since the after the October 10th event, basically. Alright, previously it was sideways at a high level. Currently, after the October 10th event, we have been trading at this level. Though, these 2 days, November 22nd, November 24th, both days left pretty long wick at the candle top. So price being rejected from the ceiling of this downtrend. So we have to observe a few more days to see if the downtrend it's going to continue. Like I said, in 2 weeks or 2 weeks and a half time, we will get the confirmation whether that is going to continue to get to the south side and challenge the orange. Alright, looking at the buying volume declining, it seems to be the case, because otherwise it will stay higher at around or over 20k to continue with the sideways trading. But we never know. If positive news come out all of a sudden, then that becomes a possibility. So let me take a look at the big picture and see whether I missed anything. Yeah, I think that's still the trend, meaning like sometimes if you look across, it's not easy to find sideways trading before the final drop to the bottom. All depends on how Bitcoin behave. Okay, if Bitcoin continues to trade sideways, likely for Bitcoin Cash it will follow. So that's why I have left all these possibilities here, sharing with you. If we're going through an LPSY, don't be surprised there will be another sign of weakness that's going to show up, and eventually bouncing again at the orange key level of 450, meaning it's going to happen this way, and then eventually come down for accumulation. Not knowing how deep it would go at the moment. All right. So last time it ended somewhere around the 300 purple key level for both August as well as beginning of this year's selling climax. The spring obviously went deeper. Now it tested almost close to the blue key level of 235, but it's a spring, so it got back up very quickly, sharply, and then almost jumped straight into the leg up towards the new distribution cycle, just showing the backup last point of support period for 4 weeks, and then the launch happened. Okay, so thanks for joining me in this session. See you in other sessions. Trade safe.